More and more often, large commercial enterprises are turning to third-party litigation funding to help them defend their legal rights with the greatest economic efficiency. Third-party funding companies are growing and expanding their reach around the world. This is the first of a two-part post that reviews developments in jurisdictions around the world. United Kingdom. In 2009, Lord Justice Jackson endorsed the use of litigation funding as part of his review of civil litigation costs. Since then, courts have increasingly accepted funding arrangements as valid because they promote access, and more individuals and commercial enterprises are relying on third-party funders. In 2016, the amount of funds invested in litigation in the UK increased by more than 25%, from £575 million to £723 million. Class actions have been a particularly fruitful area of growth as third-party funders have supported shareholder claims against RBS, Lloyds and Tesco, as well as litigation regarding automotive emissions testing and claims against MasterCard in relation to fees. Australia. The growth of litigation funding in Australia is also tied to class actions. In a 2006 decision, the Australian High Court ruled that commercial funding arrangements were not contrary to public policy. Subsequently, Australian courts began to accept funding arrangements in closed class proceedings where class membership is restricted to signed-up claimants. When Australian courts recently approved the Common Fund Doctrine, it became possible to utilize third-party funding in open class action, and funders could obtain substantial returns by recovering a commission across the entire class. Data indicates that the growth of third-party funding and the growth of class actions go hand in hand. Since the current legal regime for class actions was established in 1992, approximately 40% of all class actions filed have been initiated since 2010. Between 2010 and 2016, 49.5% of Australian class actions were funded by commercial litigation funders, up from 23.4% in the 6 years prior. The thriving Australian market for litigation funding is having consequences in other countries. The potential profits to be made in Australian class actions are drawing funding from offshore investors, and the profits that they earn in Australia boost their capacity to invest in their own countries and elsewhere. Likewise, Australian-based funders who have succeeded in the class action market are expanding their interests abroad, pursuing opportunities in overseas markets.